this episode of Cursed. There's a lot of flames. Well, what's going to happen now? Everything in the house will be destroyed. The painting was cursed.
And when I woke up, I went to get up out of the bed, and I could feel that the part of the bed that I had not slept on was wet.
My name is David Marsh, and over the last 30 years, I've seen people affected by curses in very real, yet unbelievable ways. Those afflicted by a curse quickly become sick with fear and misery as they fall deeper and deeper into a dark and tormented existence, and eventually it can lead them to their untimely death. This is Cursed. Curses come in many forms. They can be placed on an individual or family at the behest of someone else. They can reside within a location, lying in wait for a helpless victim. They can be ingrained into a belief structure, making simple actions the only necessary step in releasing their evil. But curses can also attach themselves to objects, antiques, collectibles, art and furniture. And even everyday objects have the ability to retain such negative energy that whomever comes into contact with that object or brings it into their home is placed in grave danger of the curse's effects. While most people who have become inflicted by a curse are adults, there is the occasion when young children become unwilling victims, and for them, there is little that they can do to escape the grasp of a deadly curse. Children are especially trusting, which makes them easy prey for those looking to place them in harm's way. And for the curse, it's a door much more easily opened.
My name is Victor, and I am cursed. It all started when I was a child. My sister received a curse doll. It meant a lot to her, but it's destroyed my sisters and my life. This is one time when I was a child. We happened to be outside. We look over and we see this person. She's dressed in black. Based on what all the kids told us, she was a witch. That she practiced magic. She just hated kids in general. She was a scary, scary person. She had a doll with her.
She might have been crying or she had emotional issues, and this energy actually attaches itself to things like this. Energy usually stays with an item for years and years and years.
The look on her face was that of hatred. I've never been looked at like that before, ever. The thing that I remember the most was her eyes. They were really scary. Something about her was just very dark. My sister, that were paranoid. But dolls meant a lot to her. She loved dolls. Her favorite thing was the dolls. The witch gave my sister the doll. And she loved the doll. Maybe that was part of the curse, that she would become so attached to it. The doll was maybe 18 inches long. The legs were stationary, they didn't move. The arms didn't move either. They just kind of rock up and down at the shoulder. It was neither smiling or crying, just weird blank stare that it had. A few months after we received the doll, strange things started happening. This one time, the doll was slammed to the floor. And it didn't fall over, it was slammed. It was slammed with force. I remember hearing it and then looking back and just freezing in fear. This was really scary. That was one of the most memorable times that it scared me. When it would move, it would feel like something was looking at you. It felt really scary to look at it in its eyes.
Coming up.
We're all in tears. We're freaking out.
And later.
Everything in the house will be destroyed, and the painting was the only thing that had survived the house fire.
For Victor and his sister, the doll was a welcome gift, an object of affection. But it held a dark energy that was intent on terrorizing his family.
I would be playing with certain objects, action figures, leave them a certain way,
Yeah, Grandma.
leave, and I would come back. They were not in the same place. It was just really scary. I remember my heartbeat just racing. It's not the last time that something scary like that happened to me either. At night, I would hear dragging noises coming from the stairs. My other siblings started hearing banging noises on the wall. One time, I was in bed, and I hear these noises up and down the stairs. So I jumped up. I didn't see it, but I heard this deep growl. That's when I saw that witch. She jolted to the window. Finally, she walked away really slow and into the shadows.
There's always a network of evil spirits working behind that curse. Their goal is to destroy. The Bible actually warns us that evil spirits come to steal, kill, and destroy.
Well, it was pretty scary to me to have to live through that stuff. Just one time, we had arrived from school. The torso and arms and legs everywhere. And that really freaked us out. We run out of the house and we wait outside. We're all in tears. We're freaking out. We go inside and the doll is right back where it originally was again. Like nothing ever happened. The pieces and the parts, everything's back together. Whatever was trying to torment us was using the doll as a channel or a way to try to torment us, try to get our attention. Stuff started getting more aggressive, started trying to get my attention more and more. I remember this one time specific, and I saw it move. Rock back and forth, the arms would move as well. I felt like something was looking at me. It was very traumatizing to see something move for no reason. We were being tormented. We were frustrated. We decided to get rid of the doll. There was something seriously going on. You know, there was something wrong with the doll. Took it to the front yard in this metal trash can. We started a fire. It starts popping. It just melts into this little small thin plastic thing. We were all praying, get it to leave us alone. Please, God, just help. I was just like, please, God, don't let this thing jump up out of the fire. When we burned the doll, I did feel like the curse was lifted, but deep down, I knew that there was something more. There was something controlling. There was a reason why the doll was doing those things. After we burned the doll, everything went fine for a few months. But it didn't last long. It started with nightmares. Very vivid nightmares. Everybody started noticing. Banging on the wall. Banging on the bathroom door. It was very scary. There was force behind it.
Once they are welcome in your house, demons can carry on their project without being detected, without being expelled.
I think the doll was just a way of the witch expressing the curse, but I think the curse did stay with me through my adulthood. I remember this instance where I was in bed.
Coming up,
Her twisted mind of bitterness took it out on us.
and later,
I remember this instance where I was in bed. A few minutes later, I wake up and something's dragging me by my leg.
Demons do manifest in the likeness of human beings.
I think that the witch lady put a curse on my family because she just hated kids. She heard us laugh, she heard us have fun, she heard us be kids. When her twisted mind of bitterness took it out on us. When I was a kid, I didn't know anything like that would exist. I didn't think that something evil would come after a child. My immediate family, we all had experienced the curse. I think that when we burned the doll, things were gonna get better, but subconsciously I kind of knew it was gonna take a turn for the worse. I tried to look for help, talk to someone. I began to go to church. I couldn't get a direct answer. The curse and the bad luck has stayed with the rest of my family. We've had just bad luck all around. My sister, she passed away in a car accident because of the curse. It's really scary. And I'm gonna have to fight this curse till I die. This thing is gonna kill me.
while the curses followed Victor into his adult life and will likely torment him for years to come, that's not nearly as hard to bear as the thought that his sister may very well have been killed by the cursed doll that she loved so much. Sometimes objects become cursed, but there seems to be no origin. There is even a phenomenon of multiple objects of the same type being cursed as they wreak havoc on people, not at all connected to each other in any way other than they bought the same object. The Crying Boy was a mass-produced print of a painting by Italian painter Giovanni Bregolin. It depicted a young male child in tears. In the mid-1980s, it was very popular and was bought by the people of England in massive numbers. Around the same time, mysterious fires would start at the homes of those that owned the painting. Everything, including the home itself, would be completely destroyed. But the Crying Boy painting remained intact and unharmed. The story of this mysterious occurrence continued, and the curse of the Crying Boy painting was born. Fearing that it was no coincidence that up to 50 fires broke out in homes with the paintings in the same time period, the citizens gathered and burned their paintings together in the hopes that the curse would die with their paintings.
My name is David Dawson, and my grandmother owned the Cursed Crying Boy painting. My gran had the Crying Boy painting hung in the living room. It was basically a picture of a small boy. There was sort of an orange glow reflected on his skin, as though he was looking at something burning. And he has a single tear running down his face. But I can remember my gran reading the newspaper once that ran with a story that there was this particular painting that was alleged to have caused several house fires. Everything in the house would be destroyed, and the painting was the only thing that had survived the house fire. It was then put forward that the painting was cursed.
The first reported story of this painting's disastrous effects came from Ron and Mary Hall of Rotherham in South Yorkshire, whose home of 27 years was destroyed by fire shortly after hanging the Crying Boy on their walls. The painting, however, survived. It was estimated that up to 50,000 of these paintings were purchased by the working class of northern England, and one particular fire station officer in Rotherham has personally logged 50 Crying Boy fires dating back as early as 1973.
Summer of 1985, I was living with my gran. Over the course of living in that house, we had a couple of house fires. They were fairly localized. I have no idea how they started. There was another fire in my grandmother's house and started right underneath the painting. Obviously smelled the smoke, ran into the living room, which was still quite smoky. It miraculously burned itself out. The painting was unscathed.
Another couple from Surrey saw their house burn to the ground after only 6 months of having the painting. When they returned from the hospital, they found the house in ruins, but the Crying Boy painting still hanging on the wall. The hysteria resulted in the painting's owners destroying the paintings, but as one woman explained, despite being left in the flames for an hour, the painting was not even scorched.
My grandmother was petrified of the painting. She didn't even want to touch it or take it down off the wall. According to rumors, if you tried to get rid of it, that would bring down bad luck on you.
All right.
In the end, she agreed to let me get rid of the painting. So I took the painting into the back garden. There was a little bit of apprehension. This was the cursed painting. It wasn't supposed to burn. There was supposed to be all sorts of bad luck connected to it. So I was quite nervous. So I went and got a tin of petrol and emptied a good-sized chunk of petrol on the painting. So I took a match, and I struck the match, and I threw it in. The match got caught in a twig and burnt out. So I'm sort of standing there thinking, okay, there's a lot of petrol in there. That really should have gone up. I took another match, and then
Coming up,
there was a lot of flames. Well, what's going to happen now?
and later,
It became very bizarre. I became very troubled.
People have no idea that sometimes just by buying certain items out there and bringing to their homes, they're simply bringing curse to their homes. They don't realize that there are a lot of accursed objects out there that they shouldn't even touch. And they're gonna be tormented.
I took a match, and I struck the match, and I threw it in. The match got caught in a twig and burnt out. So I'm sort of standing there thinking, okay, there's a lot of petrol in there. That really should have gone up. I thought, I've done it now. I've got to do something with the painting. I have to destroy it. I took another match, struck the match, and threw it. There was a lot of flames. As I say, there was a lot of petrol in there. After about 5 minutes, there was no sign of the painting. There was absolutely nothing. I remember once there was no sign of the painting. There was that sort of feeling of, well, what's going to happen now? After the painting was destroyed, there was a feeling that it was finished, it was done, she was rid of it. But my gran continues to have bad luck. It's as a direct result of the painting. I loved my grandmother's house. I never thought that the house would be in any kind of jeopardy. I've read elsewhere, apparently the child was a fire starter who could start fires without touching anything. All the bad luck, certainly the house fires. That painting is pretty much the cause.
we may never know the true reason for the curse of the Crying Boy painting to exist. Why is this curse so harmful and destructive that it affects so many disconnected people? One thing is for certain. No one in their right mind thinks to hang this painting in their home or office anymore. What is it that causes an object to become cursed? For some, it may be the intent of the owner, someone with devilish plans. For others, it could be a mystery, perhaps an act of extreme violence or torment associated with the object. And for some, it could be totally unintentional and the curse can attach itself to the host simply by proxy and physical interaction.
My name is Richard. I live in Los Angeles, and I am cursed. The curse started in Los Angeles, and my girlfriend and her friend and I, we all became kind of close. We had a regular Sunday afternoon little get-together at my girlfriend's friend's house, drinking a little wine, and one of us would cook, and that's just how we spent our Sunday afternoons. That just kind of became our routine. So we were all sitting around one afternoon, and I walked out into the garage just looking around. And noticed that there was this welding mask that was over on a shelf. I didn't think much of it. Kind of looked like an alien spaceman's mask to me. I went over and I picked it up. I put it on, and I went back in the house. I came back out saying, I'm from Mars, and I'm here to take your women, and I was just joking around. My girlfriend's friend just went very bizarre. She started talking about the fact that the helmet was her dead husband's, and that his spirit went along with the welding mask.
Why are you wearing that? It's my dead husband. You shouldn't have put that on. You shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry. No idea what you said. No idea.
And I took it off, said, I'm sorry. I didn't even think of anything like that.
Give it to me right now.
But she continued to go on about the fact that she felt the spirit of her husband was angered because I had put the mask on and had made a joke about it.
Oh, why did you do this?
It was just hanging there.
No, this is not okay.
At the particular time that this all happened, I really didn't think much about it, and I never was one to put much credence in curses and those type of supernatural activities. But there was some strange things that started to happen in my own life. I would be driving, and I would start to smell that irritating smoke smell that you get from welding activity. And I actually pulled over. And it became evident that there was no reason and no sense to the fact that I was smelling the scent. And it became so prominent at times that I could actually smell it in my clothes later. And my girlfriend even made a comment one time about it. She says, "What is that smell? It smells like smoke." This kept reoccurring, and it became a little strange to me. I was still trying to put some pieces together why this was happening, and I actually had visualized the welding mask in my mind when I was getting some of the smoke, and that was the moment that I put it all together. When that happened, it raised the hair on the back of my neck, and I got goosebumps all over me like I had never experienced before. The next morning, I woke up to something that totally shook me to my bone.
Coming up.
I screamed. The next morning, I woke up to something that totally shook me to my bone. I went into my room, laid down, went to sleep. And when I woke up, I went to get up out of the bed, and I could feel that the part of the bed that I had not slept on was wet. And I looked around the room to see if maybe something had spilt, and then I threw back the blanket. And from almost the top of the bed to the bottom of the bed, it was totally soaking wet. And there was a sheen on this wet spot that looked much like oil. And at that moment, at that point in time, I knew that I was involved in a curse. It continued and it escalated.
A welder who wore this particular mask, obviously he was not a good person, and he had very high negativity, and he possibly was abusive. He could have had a lot of bad anger issues, all sorts of bad energy, and if he wore this mask all the time, this mask is gonna pick this bad energy up from him.
There came one night that I realized my beliefs in being able to do physical events from the spiritual changed. My girlfriend had just bought me a new telephone. It was a gift. And I was at the house by myself. I had set the phone on the countertop quite a ways away from the sink where I was doing dishes. And so I was just sitting there being domestic, cleaning up and all. And out of nowhere, that telephone was thrown at me from the countertop. My reaction was just stark fear. And I had not ever felt that level of fear before, because then I felt like there was something that was actually trying to harm me. There was one particular night that I was in the house, and I felt this feeling that someone was watching me. You know, I've never had those type of feelings before, not as this was. And I was so afraid that if I went over to a window and opened the blind, that there would be somebody looking back at me. From that point, things started to get worse. And the smell of the welding smoke became from intermittent to continuous. The feelings of being watched, that there was something, for the lack of a better word, tracking me, became greater.
In order for a curse to be broken, those spirits have to be cast out. But sometimes you have to do an investigation to find out how this curse came about.
I was investigating very, very heavily, and I discovered that to break this curse, you can perform this ritual. I stood in front of this building. I walked around. I had finished the south, the east, the north, and I was heading over to the west, and it was as if something had pushed me. There was a physical push, but almost as if something was pulling me too. Man, I was in a battle like I had never been in my life. My life before this curse was actually pretty blessed. I had never felt like that my life had been derailed at any point in time as when I had walked into the mask, if you would.
Cursed objects exist throughout the world, and the ability for a curse to attach itself to just about anything is what makes this form of the mystery so frightening. One thing is clear, that in all the world and of all the objects that exist, any one of them can contain a curse or become cursed at any time and thereby have an ability to inflict terrible harm, incredible pain, and even death on those who find themselves unexpectedly in this curse's path.